Hello, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna tier rank popular BookTok books because there are so many books that I've read because I saw them on TikTok. I mean that's true for a lot of people. There's a lot of recommendations on there and I've read a lot of them, so I thought it'd be fun to rank them all and see where they fall in my opinions. So let's start ranking. Okay, so let's go over the tiers that I have. We have show-stopping, jaw-dropping, incredible, meaning this book was so good. It's one of my favorites and it deserves every little bit of hype that it gets. And we have it gave, meaning I liked it. I probably don't like it as much as other people do, but I still thought it was good. And then we have I read this, meaning it wasn't too bad, wasn't too good, just kind of unmemorable. And we have it didn't do it for me. I just didn't really, I don't see why it gets hype, really. It just wasn't a favorite. And we have gag, how and why does this have hype? And this one is like, I strongly disliked it. Something in the book really rubbed me the wrong way. So let's just get to it. Starting off strong, A Court of Thorns and Roses, the whole series, immediately show-stopping, jaw-dropping, incredible. It's been a year since I finished it, but my love for it is still as strong as it was right after reading it. So I love that series. Daisy Jones and the Six, one of my favorite books of all time, probably top 2. It's so good. It gets hype for a reason. It's incredible. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, I'm going to put it in a gave because like I can't compare it to Daisy Jones. Like they're not, I don't love them the same amount, so I can't put them in the same tier, you know? Same with Malibu Rising, it gave. Still really good. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid, her writing. Everything she writes I like pretty much, so. The Hating Game, gag. I did not like this book. Like it's marketed as enemies to lovers, but it's not. They are not enemies. They act like children for one thing. They kiss in like the first 50 pages. That's not enemies to lovers. You were not enemies. And that scene at the end with the wall color, absolutely not. Punk 57, I read this. I have no strong feelings toward it. It was good. Well, it was fine. I really don't remember it. The Love Hypothesis, it's gonna go in show-stopping. I loved that book. It was so just like fun to read. I had a great time reading it. I really enjoyed it. Then we have If He Had Been With Me. It didn't do it for me. I didn't really like it that much. Like I didn't cry. And the fact, like I don't want to be judgmental, but the main character, she wore tiaras like all the time into school. Why are we doing that? Like, come on, that's too much. I just couldn't do it. And I don't know, she was kind of boring. It just like, it wasn't horrible. Indigo Ridge, it also didn't do it for me. It's not gag worthy, but I didn't like it. I thought the plot twist was stupid. I didn't like the characters. Wasn't for me. Icebreaker, it gave. It was good. I'm not a big sports romance girl. That doesn't really intrigue me at all. But this one I liked. I liked the characters. I really like figure skating. So that's why I wanted to read it, because I was like, okay, she's a figure skater. Like, that interests me. So yeah. You Deserve Each Other. Ugh, gag. I didn't like this book at all. Again, they were so immature. And the way they communicated with each other was embarrassing. It was not funny. They were like immature and mean. And I didn't like it at all. I was not here for it. The Silent Patient. It could go in I read this or it didn't do it for me. I'm honestly, it's going in it didn't do it for me because I did not like the twist in this book. I don't like remember it super well because I read it a while ago, but I just remember the twist felt really cheap to me, like an easy out. And I hate when thriller books do that. It's not for me. Then we have The Inheritance Games, the whole series. I'm putting it in it gave. I really liked the first book the first time I read it, and then I reread it to read the other two, and I didn't like it quite as much, but it was still good. And then the second book I also really liked. The third book, I thought it got way too like convoluted, and it was just too confusing, honestly. But yeah. Funny you should ask. I read this. I barely remember anything about this book, so it's gonna have to go there. I'm scared for this one. Beach read. Perhaps the most like beloved BookTok book. It didn't do it for me. It just didn't. I don't know. I just thought it was not anything great. Like, I didn't love the characters. I thought the storyline was like kind of half-ass. I don't know. And that one quote that everyone talks about and is like, oh my God, like, where he says, like, sometimes when I watch you sleep, like, I'm overwhelmed that you exist. I don't find that cute. A man says that to me, I'm out the door. That's weird. So for that reason, it's going in. It didn't do it for me. And I don't like how the, like, title of the book doesn't really, like, match up with the book. That's just a personal thing, but A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. It gave. That was good. It's a good little mystery thriller. It was good. Everything I Know About Love, it gave. That was a really good book. I enjoyed it, and it was something a little bit different than a lot of the books that I've read. So, Before We Were Strangers. Oh, I'm stuck between Show Stopping and It Gave. I think at the time that I read it, I just thought that it gave, but like looking back, it was more than that. Because also the characters in the book are obsessed with the singer Jeff Buckley, and at the time, like, I wasn't really into his music, but now I love his music. So I feel like if I reread it, it would just like hit so different. So I don't know, but we might come back to that one. This next one I'm also scared for. From Lukov with Love. I'm stuck between Gag and It Didn't Do It for me. You know, I know it's just gonna go and It Didn't Do It for me because I don't have like as strong of a hatred for it as the other two. But I just did not get the hype for this book at all. It was so long for no reason. The characters, like, she was grumpy, but it was just like annoying to me. I didn't like it. It was like figure skating, but like there was nothing really about the figure skating, and that's kind of what I wanted. I didn't think the writing was anything great. I'm honestly baffled why people love that book so much, because I did not think it was anything special. The Summer I Turned Pretty. The whole series, but like I feel like everybody really only likes the first book. Like, the first book is the most important. I'm kind of stuck between I read this and It Gave, because when I think of The Summer I Turned Pretty, I think of the show, which is a rare instance where I think the show is better. So honestly, I'm gonna put this in I read this because I don't think it's anything amazing. Ooh, Where the Crawdads Sing. It didn't do it for me. I didn't like this book. Like, I thought it was just so unrealistic. It was not believable. I know in some books, like, you gotta kind of push aside the unreal, the things that, what am I trying to say? You have to push aside certain things to make it believable. But I just couldn't with this. And I don't know, the plot line was weird. It was like half mystery, but that only really happened at the end. I don't know. I didn't like it. Oh, I'm scared for the next one too. Addicted to You. It didn't do it for me. It didn't do it for me. Now, I've only read the first one, the second one, and part of the third, but I just couldn't get through it. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was anything special. Like, the characters, I didn't really care for. And I know that everyone says, like, it gets better the more you read it, but I'm not reading 5 books, like, of mediocre writing and, like, storyline to start liking it. Like, I have plenty of books I want to read that will be good from the start. So it's a little harsh, but didn't do it for me. The Woman in the Window. Gag. I really didn't like this. Like, I thought it was super boring. I really don't, I'm not a fan of the unreliable narrator trope. It just, I think it's cheap, and this book I just remember being really boring. I just didn't like it. 7 Days in June. We're gonna say I read this because I don't really remember. I didn't love it. There were some parts I liked, but I didn't love it. I don't think it was horrible or anything, so it's just gonna go there. Love in Other Words, it gave. It was good. I definitely don't love it as much as other people do, like, by any means, but it was good. I didn't like the, like, miscommunication part of, like, why they didn't talk for so long. Like, that actually really bothered me. If it had been something different, it might have been like a 5-star, but I thought it was kind of stupid. Then we have Normal People. It gave. It wasn't show-stopping for me personally. Like, I don't know, it was hard for me to kind of connect to the characters, which is what I need for it to be up to that 5-star level, but it was good. I mean, people talk about it for a reason. We have The Summer of Broken Rules. It gave. I really loved it when I read it. Like, I kind of wanted to put it in show-stopping, but it's not the level that the other books are on, you know? Okay, I'm taking Before We Were Strangers and I'm putting it to It Gave. It's not sitting right with me being up there. The Unhoneymooners, It Gave. I almost want to put that in show-stopping because when I read that, I loved it. I ate up every single chapter in that book. It was so good. Such a good, like, rom-com. Exactly what you want. I really liked it. Ooh. Ugly Love. Gag. Weren't they step-siblings in this? That just, or no. That was a different part of it. But yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't like that part. I didn't like the, like, back and forth kind of POV, like the poetry. I just didn't like it. It was, like, toxic. It just wasn't a favorite personally. So yeah, getting into all the other Colleen Hoover books. It Ends With Us. I'm gonna say it gave because I don't love this book, but I can't put it in I read this because it is a memorable book, you know? Like, it's good. There are definitely I have some bones to pick with it, but overall, it gave. Verity, show-stopping. I love that book so much. It had me so shook to my core when I read it. I had to, like, explain the whole plot to my mom because I just had to talk to somebody about it because it was insane. And that's exactly what you want from a thriller, so A+ on that one. November 9. I don't have strong feelings on this, so it's going in I read this. I feel like when I read it, I liked it, but I was also on vacation when I read it, so I was just, like, happy in general. And then looking back at, like, the twist, like, it's, like, low-key problematic, some of the things in this book. The Deal. Also gonna go in I read this. Like, I don't remember anything except for the main guy's name. I don't remember anything. And they, like, play hockey, obviously. Ooh. Six of Crows. I read this. And Crooked Kingdom, which I actually have right there. Kind of fake of me. But yeah, these just weren't that memorable to me. I didn't love them. Like, I didn't hate them, but it just wasn't a favorite. I didn't think there was anything, like, super memorable in them, so. Okay, We Were Liars. I feel like this book gets so much hate now because it was, like, so severely hyped up, but, like, for me, it gave. I read it a very long time ago, like 2.5 years ago, I think. But I loved it. Like, I was shocked, and I enjoyed it. It was kind of when I was getting back into reading, and I think it was a good book for that. So, Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, show-stopping. I love that book so much. Such good writing, such a cool story. I love that book. One of Us is Lying. It didn't do it for me. It did not do it for me. I didn't finish it because I was pretty sure I figured out the twist, and I was like, well, I'm not going to keep reading because I don't particularly find it enjoyable. And yeah, it just didn't do it for me. Song of Achilles. I don't know. Honestly, if I'm being so honest, it has to go in I read this. Yes, the writing is beautiful. Yes, it's a beautiful story. Is it super memorable to me? No. It Happened One Summer. It gave. This is a good one. I really liked that book. It was just, again, like The Unhoneymooners, just like a light, fun little rom-com. Dance of Thieves. I read this. It wasn't memorable. I remember that I liked it, but I felt like it was a little bit too long. It started to get a little boring for me. So that's why it's gonna go there. I never read the second one. The Selection Series. I'm gonna put it in It Gave, because at the time that I read it, it did give. It again, I think, was when I was kind of starting to get back into reading. And this is like very much a book that it gives like middle school, like adolescence, that kind of read. So it was like so easy to get back into because it's something I would have read back then. And I liked it. Now if I read it, I probably wouldn't. I would give it like 3 stars. But I can't put it in I read this because that just doesn't feel right. One Last Stop didn't do it for me. I didn't finish it. I thought it was super boring. And yeah, I just didn't like it at all. Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This gave. It was really good. It was very interesting, unique. A lot of people say that it made them like sob. It didn't make me. I teared up, but I didn't cry. But I just thought it was a cool concept. And I love the cover. It's so cute. On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous. It gave. It's written so beautifully, and it's so raw, and it brought attention to things that like I hadn't really thought about or hadn't given much thought to, and now like I do kind of actively think about that. So I really liked that. Kind of, it gave me a new perspective, which is something I love when a book does. Anna and the French Kiss. It gave. I mean, it's in Paris. She's at a boarding school. She meets a boy. What more could you want? Like, there was like one thing that's a little like, ooh, in this book, but I tried to just like ignore it because the rest of it was too cute. The Firekeeper's Daughter. It didn't do it for me. I remember being so god-awfully bored during this book. The cover is so cool, but that's about the only redeeming thing about it, in my opinion. Alone with You in the Ether. It gave. That was a really cool book, and I really liked the like kind of, was it physics or math, something like that. That aspect of it was so interesting to me, like with the hexagons and stuff. I really liked that, and the writing was just really good, as everyone says. The Vanishing Half. I'm kind of stuck between It Gave and I read this because, you don't know, It Gave. It was good. I really liked that book. I liked the time period it was set in. Like parts of it I think were in the 70s, which was really cool. It's one of my favorite like time periods to read in. So yeah, It Gave. The Guest List. I'm gonna put it in I read this. I don't have like strong feelings toward it. It's a good thriller, but it didn't like have me on the edge of my seat or anything. This Is Where It Ends. If I had a traumatic tier, it would go there, but I don't know if I should put it in gag. I think I'm gonna put it in gag because it's about a school shooting, and I have enough anxiety about shootings happening in my life. I shouldn't have read this. Like, I did not need to be reading that or thinking about that or imagining myself in that scenario. I think that's gonna be like an off limits topic to me because it freaks me out a lot. If We Were Villains. Oh, show stopping, so good. Jaw dropping, incredible. I mean, really, what more can I say? The Secret History, it didn't do it for me. Didn't do it for me. It was so boring. I think I don't like this author's writing too much. I read one of her other books and it's just too much. It's too long. I get bored. I couldn't get through this book even though I really wanted to. I couldn't. And we have From Blood and Ash. This is going in It Gave. This was one of the first, I feel like, fantasy books I read and I loved it. It was so good. I remember being so shocked at this one thing that happened. It's very vague in my mind. And this is just for the first book because I also read the second, but that book was awful. Literally not one thing happened in it. But I didn't put that one on here because I forgot about it because it was so dumb. Then, lastly, we have The Roughest Draft. And unfortunately, that's going in I Read This. I feel like that was hyped up for like a while on TikTok and then it kind of like, you know, went under the radar and it wasn't very memorable at all, to be honest. So we're all done. Let's see what we have here. Not too many shows stopping. Well, I mean, a good amount. I mean, It Gave, like, I thoroughly enjoyed all of those books. And I mean, I Read This. Those weren't bad. So I think TikTok is reliable. You just gotta know yourself and your reading taste and be like, just because everybody loves this doesn't mean I need to read it. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something about my book taste. I hope I didn't offend you. I'm sorry if I did. Those are just my opinions. It's just books. If you love one of the books I hated, that's okay. If you hate one of the books I love, no, that's okay too. But thank you for watching, and I will see you in my next video.